everyone, and welcome to the latest in our GC People Leader series. My guest today is Misal, who is MD with InfinityGlobal, and I'm sure you can see that on his background. Kanish, welcome. Good that you're with us. You've done the GC Index. You have a very strong game changer strategist profile, and we're going to be talking about that and how it's shaped your approach to managing and leading. Let's dip into some of your career. Before InfinityGlobal, you had a successful 14 years with Tata. Did they know what they were getting when they took you on as a young man with this game changer strategist profile?
So good evening, Doctor. Thank you for having me in this session. I hope I can share some of my own experiences. It's been really fun to take the GC Index. I think it's helped me understand who I am as to why I am the way I am. To your question about the Tata Group, a phenomenal experience there for me. I don't think they had any clue as to what they're really getting when they brought me on board after my management in Singapore. And I was supposed to join them as a part of an 80-member team that was brought in from different universities, campuses around the world to form some kind of a management training program for shaping the future of the business. And we were all earmarked to go into very specific technology projects. And as a starting of my career, I was earmarked to be in a tech business or a tech account. And my response to that first assignment was a no. So I said, I don't think I want to do that. And essentially, I think that was, now when I look back at the GC Index and relate that, I think that ability to say no was an outcome of my view on that program, which was that it's a very traditional implementation activity of technology, and that just wouldn't fascinate me. So I went back to the head of the business and I had requested them, so if there was another opportunity that was different, something that I could pick up. And they came back to me with an option to join as an executive assistant to one of the company presidents in Mumbai. Oh. And my entire team was looking for international assignments, and I was looking at an opportunity to work with as an EA. I think my colleagues felt that it was essentially downgrading myself from a career perspective. For me, I think it was a very clear trajectory because I felt that, or rather, I could see the opportunity that I would get being an EA. And that was not the designation or the title or the role, because I could put that out of the bucket completely. But I felt that I would have access to information. I would learn from somebody who's actually been a stalwart. The company president had built a business, essentially replicated it into 6 different geographies. So I said, what could be a better opportunity than to work with somebody who's probably been a game changer when I look back at it.
Yes, they knew they were getting something a little bit different then. Having the confidence to know what was right for you is intriguing, but the question in my, when did you sense that you might think differently about the world, as game changers often do?
I think this trait was essentially there in me even in junior school. And I was very lucky. My parents have both traveled a lot around the world, and I have grown in about 14 different countries my entire childhood. And therefore, when I went back to them with ideas and I said, can I do this differently? Or can I do something that everybody else is not pursuing at the moment? I wasn't locked down or put into a bucket or a basket. They said, just go ahead, do it, try it, give it a shot.
Yeah. And so in the Tata world, there seems to be some openness to that sort of talent of seeing things differently. Tell us how it worked. What did you get involved in Tata that made the most of that talent?
I think it's a very, very, very vast organization with almost about 1 million employees across their ecosystem. And I think they were able to identify people who had a streak around thinking differently and put them into what essentially are called T40s. So many of people will be familiar with cricket, where you play the test match, and there are people who are brilliant at that. They have a sense of endurance in that space. And then there is the traditional cricket, which is a 50-over match. And then there is the T20s, and we call it the T40s in Tatas, or rather, I would kind of tag it as a T40 team, which was these are people who are looking at innovative ideas. And while the business itself will require traditional thinking or operational people, or essentially what you call implementers, I think Tatas would nurture people who had different ideas and put them into very specific tasks. So we were, I think, earmarked into specific assignments, put into different roles, organizing events, to running commercial bids, to doing deals, negotiations, new projects, innovations, essentially.
And presumably a degree of freedom to be creative, which is at the heart of a game changer need.
Absolutely. I think not just a degree of freedom, I think that you also need budgets to do that. So we were brought into business units that had allocated budgets for teams that were designing things of the future. So we, within the Tata Group, have business units that are focused on a 2025 scenario when the rest of the world is looking at a 2015 scenario.
Yes.
And
but still integrated
with the budget.
With the business then.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Some of our audience would be interested in that, but thinking of this talent population that's recognised and nurtured in some way and exploited in the best possible sense, what was the gender split in this group?
I think in my cohort we had about 60% women and 40%, I think, were men in that group.
Yeah, so yes, a nice mix. And I'm assuming that even though you have this space to be creative, and this will take us on to your role in InfinityGlobal, I'm assuming as a game changer, you would have learned some skills that helped you to have impact as a game changer. What would be on your list?
So I think there were two essential skills that I have learned and two that I still need to learn. The two that I have learned are understanding of technology, being in the forefront, because I think for game changers, understanding that technology can actually help you realize your ideas is a big reassurance to your belief. And two is the ability to understand different people, or having a sense of empathy there with the individual. And I think two areas that I still need to really work a lot on as a game changer is networking, I think, because I think game changers like myself need to build a network of people who can understand us and help us maybe translate that message out, and possibly get deeper understanding of again, areas of technology that could help us individually even translate some of these ideas into simple prototypes.
So in GC Index terms, you're thinking about your playmaker skills by the sounds of it.
Yes, playmaker and polisher.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's lovely. It's nice to see that development over time, I guess, for you in terms of and the move to InfinityGlobal after 14 years. Give us some sense of why you made that decision and what that business is about. It has a very clear philosophy, doesn't it?
InfinityGlobal, yes, it's a very interesting business model that we have evolved, and it's a combination of something that I've learned at Tata's and then embedded further with other businesses that I got to interact with in my most recent assignment with Tata's in the UK in the edtech space. So in from a business standpoint, we essentially use technology to level the playing field, which is if anybody is willing to learn, has the inclination to upskill themselves, uh, they can take part in our digital ecosystem, and we would help them firstly identify their hidden potential, which is the undiscoverables element of their personality, and then fit them into the right organization, and also upskill them. So that's what we do as a business. But to your first part of the question, which was my transition from Tata's into this, I think one of the things that game changers essentially will experience is that their requirement or their want to do more is going to increase as they grow within their careers. So in my early stages of careers, just having freedom and budgets was really great. Now I wanted to go and do things without any boundaries, operate in different continents, operate with different businesses, not have any corporate restrictions in those spaces to do those kind of initiatives. And I think that's where I took a decision where I felt it's now time to literally open my wings and step out.
Yes.
It's a changing comfort zone.
There's still an anchor in here in the sense of helping organizations to appreciate talent, which would, of course, is at the heart of our philosophy. People can make an impact. People can make a contribution. Your role is to broker that contribution into a role that suits them. Have I understood that?
Yes, absolutely. So in our business model, where we've been working with organizations to identify talent for them, in one of the most recent businesses that we worked with in the UK, in the telecom sector, as a part of their talent acquisition process, we were tasked to identify 100 people of a certain tech skill. And as a part of that process, the conventional method would have been to use CVs and shortlist people. We chucked all of that into the bin. We put in transparent tech assessments, and allowed people from any background to come and take the assessment and essentially see where they stand. One interesting member of that team is a boy called Lewis. He was a key cutter at Timson's. And I think, if I'm not wrong, he applied for something between 20 to 40 different jobs and did not get a single call, because everybody wanted to have somebody who had tech experience for a tech role. And I guess this was the first time where, since we hadn't filtered based on CVs, we looked at his hidden talent, which is we checked whether he actually knew technology and he'd been learning in his free time. This young boy is now the first boy to get graduated from the entire program. Is the first billable billable candidate within the organization into an account. And I think his own testimonials on social media now are a clear reflection of the success of that business model.
Listen, I can see from your face the pleasure that you derive from seeing your philosophy in action. This is why you exist at the minute, I guess, as a business, to help talented people to find a place for them to demonstrate that talent.
I agree with you. I think one of the learnings for me is that as a game changer, we have ideas. Those ideas are of no use if you can't deploy them and be realistic in terms of your vision. So sometimes, even as people who are thinking 5 to 10 years ahead of the curve, we need to be realistic and start executing small things that can make a difference today. And I think that's the part that we've now started to do. And
have you started to think about those folk around you in GC Index terms?
Yes, absolutely.
You have some strategists and implementers, I know, in your team who provide a very complementary balance, I think.
I mean, yes. Till I had taken this assessment and my colleagues had also participated in this, I didn't know why we had formed such an amazing team. Now, when I look back at all the data that has come out of GC Index, it's so simple. I mean, I have I think a very high score in the game changer, and my counterparts who are leading operations have very high implementation scores. And as a combination, we're able to ideate and quickly execute now. And
Yeah.
one of the things I've learned is that I'm not good at executing, I guess, some of these activities. So I take a step back, and I've started handing that over to the team to say, I guess you guys are really good at it. Go ahead and do it. I'm just going to keep giving you more and more new ideas.
What wonderful freedom. You were telling me earlier, and this fascinates me, but you were telling me that part of being a game changer isn't about having hunches, that you see certain things with a real clarity, and that's part of your drive. And I guess that clarity has been transformed into InfinityGlobal and what you're doing with the business. Come on, what do you in these strange times of pandemic? What are you seeing for us next year, the year after?
I think, especially for people who have a very high game changer score or skill, I think this is a fabulous opportunity. We can change and set a new normal based on what's reasonable and what's practical. I think for the first time. So it's no longer about not doing a certain activity because of inertia. As an example, I think this interview or this conversation that we're having today would have been a face-to-face environment in probably pre-COVID times. We have now done this online. We have saved time in travel. We're having rehearse. We can rehearse this. We can edit. We can sanitize. We can improve. We can add people to this. There's so much that you can do with technology. So I think that's the big advantage now.
Kanish, I'm sure we could fill another hour or so with your stories and your insights, but let's draw to a close and just thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your experience as a game changer. All the very best to you and your business.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the experience of learning GC Index, which has helped me understand myself in a much better way. Thank you.
Good of you. Thanks.